All right, welcome to my podcast. How's it going?
Welcome to it. Very good. Thank you for letting us on.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah. I've known of you for a while, right? You guys. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Conrad is in way down under. Yeah, in Australia, right? Which part of Australia are you in?
So we're from the snowy mountains, and funny enough, it snowed last night, first time this season. So we've got snow outside. Little known fact, we get snow in Australia.
That's right, and you guys are living through winter right now.
Yeah, just started.
Just started winter. Wow, that's such a weird thing. Here's how sheltered I am. I've never been out, to the southern hemisphere. I've always been up here, so it's just like for us, summer's just those June months or whatever, And so to think about that, you guys are going to winter right now, I was like, what? That's weird.
Yeah, it's cold. I guess you guys are pretty warm there.
Yes, right now it's super hot. I mean, my AC unit is broken here in this office, and we have a fan. But we're like, man, come on. It's crazy. It was over 100. Was it over 100 today? Almost close to 100, which is what in Celsius, like 42, 40 something. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah. Is that humid there?
It's not humid. It's just a desert, so it's super dry.
Okay, yeah, same here. So we get 38, 40s here in the summer. We had a really bad bushfire season, so
yeah,
it actually got to with I'll convert it back to miles. I think like 8 miles from our property.
Oh, really? The fires?
Yeah. So we had vehicles here. We had to evacuate them all out. Horses, vehicles, cats, dogs,
everything. Yeah, koalas. We were all sad because the koalas were getting burned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have koalas here, so we don't know. We were like, come on, save them. Save a few for us so we can see them.
Yeah. And kangaroos and a lot of wildlife. And because the ground was so hot, it burns their feet and hooves, and then they get infections and they can't eat. And it's a pretty bad way to die.
It's pretty bad, right? Yeah, that sucks. But it's just happens. It's part of the wild, I guess. It's part of nature. But it's always sad to see it. We don't want to see it, right? You don't see animals die.
No, I guess it was just like the perfect storm. We just had no rain in the spring. And I mean, we only get 18 to 22 inches of rain here a year. I guess a bit like you guys. So it was, we all knew it was going to come. So, I mean, I guess, that's global warming. That's what's happening out there.
That's what's happening. And that's why you guys are doing what you're doing. Tell me about your outfit there. What do you guys got going?
Yeah, so we started back in 2011 doing a little hobby. Still really is much of a hobby down here. Australia's a very medium economic demographic, I guess. It's we're not rich, we're not poor, but I mean, no one's going to go and spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a conversion, right? So
yeah,
it comes and goes. We've finally stepped up and done a website this week, mainly because of you guys. I guess we should get serious and start promoting what we do a little bit more. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So that vehicle back there, you're getting ready to convert that one.
Yeah, so that's our personal one, and that's got a 300 horsepower Tesla drive sitting in there.
You put a Tesla drive. Yeah, that's so crazy. You're beating me. I haven't even done that to any of my vehicles yet. We're still.
I guess it's. Well, yeah. You'll have to do it.
I have to do it. The next one that I want to do, I mean, my personal one, I want that, right? And I just haven't had the time. I just didn't have the money. Now that I have the money, I haven't had the time. I'm like setting up a shop here so that I can work on them, and it's taken quite a while with this pandemic stuff going on, and that whole mess. 2020 has been so far. But yeah, that's what I want to do. So you have the small Tesla motor on there?
Yeah. Do you want me to quickly move the camera so you can have a look in there?
Yeah, let's see that. Did you make the cradle yourself?
Yeah. Oh, what happened there? I've touched something. Are you there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you see me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, I've lost me. I touched my mouse pad. Just give me a second here.
Okay. No problem. So there's a
Yeah.
cradle that goes to grab that engine, that electric motor. And it has to be custom made because it doesn't exist. So, you know, Michael at EV West is doing his version. I know there's a couple other guys that are doing their version, but pretty much anyone that wants to do this. Yeah, it's a custom engineer and fabricated steel bracket to.
So yeah, I can't see you or but can you see that in there?
Yes. Oh yeah, look at that. So you fabbed the mounts, right, for that motor. Oh, so this is a different one actually. This is a bay window. So you don't have forks, right? You don't have.
No, so it's got an So it's got an IRS rear end, and it doesn't have the forks.
That's exactly what I'm working on over here, but we decided not to go with that motor, that system, because it's still a bit experimental, right? And so this customer wanted to just have a quick conversion, and he wants to be up on the road like as quick as possible. So I go, well, then let's not do the Tesla thing because there's a lot of figuring out still on that system. And so since these buses are slightly different, the older ones have those horns, right? The forks.
Yeah.
And Michael has engineered a bracket that goes on that. And that's, I think he's got it down, right? But this is different. Obviously, it's not going to work because we don't have those horns.
Yeah, so we have a Super Beetle that has the forks that we've made a cradle up for. So we are agents for Zero EV UK. Have you heard of those guys?
No, I'm not familiar with them.
So they're from Britain, and they do a package for the Tesla Drive, small and large.
Wow.
And pretty much what Michael does, and but they take the control board out. They don't use the CAN bus hack. They do a complete logic board swap.
Okay. Wait, I'm not sure. Is that what Michael does, or does he flash the software and puts new one in there?
Yeah, so he flashes, and I'm not 100%. I've only done one EV control system, and it was just it had the original Tesla board in there, reflashed.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I haven't gotten too much into it because, like I said, I haven't built one yet. So I'm still, haven't spent too much time thinking about it.
Yeah.
Seems like you're on your way to building that one.
Yeah, I've got a few out there because we're the distributor in Australia.
Wow.
And there's a lot of buses down here. There's a lot of combi buses down here, and they to rebuild a combi motor and gearbox down here is about 15,000 Australian.
Okay.
So we can do that Tesla Drive for about 13,000 Australian. So it's just trying to get people to add the batteries and get their head around. Oh, you got to pay for batteries, but you're paying for your fuel and service for the rest of the life of the vehicle, really.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get past that initial investment, right? Mostly because we're not used to it, right? I don't know if it's the same in Australia than here, but most people go and buy a car here and they buy a $50,000-$60,000 car and they buy it zero down. Zero money out of their pocket, or and then they just pay every month. So it's like, why can't I do that with an EV, or a DIY EV? Can't I just pay later, But that doesn't exist yet. So it's weird to get past
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we have Zip Pay, which is some sort of prepaid. Virtually, you can go and do that. But it's, I guess down here, everyone calls it the total cost of ownership. So, you know, over 5 years, I'm pretty sure most EVs break even. Is that what you find?
Uh, I haven't done a lot of math, but you know, just roughly, the last year we owned a gasoline car. My wife spent about $10,000 in 1 year in fuel. So
Yeah. Wow.
yes, because she just goes everywhere, and it was kind of like a big car. It was like one of those Honda Pilots with a
Yeah.
6-cylinder engine. You know, it was a smart one. Still wasted a lot of gas. And then I bought her a small sedan. It was that little Chevy Volt. And I
Yeah.
think the next year, our fuel costs were like $1,000, like literally 1/10 of what they
Wow.
were the year prior to that, right? So, yes, I think you're right. I think that in less than around probably 5 years, you probably pay off. You break even probably, yeah.
And your fuel is cheaper. I think down here we pay a litre about a $1.20, $1.10 Australian. So I say $1.95 US, I guess.
Oh yeah,
90
that's
cents
a
US.
lot more. I think right now, what's gasoline right now? It's been years since I've filled up. 325, so around 325 per gallon, right?
So what's like about divide by 3 or 4?
Yeah, how many liters in a gallon? Like 3, right? I think it's something like that. Yeah.
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 Right.
So it's yeah, you guys pay a lot more. You're probably paying like $6-7 per gallon.
Yeah. So we our personal vehicle, or the wife's vehicle, we have a Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle.
Okay.
Because Australia is so big, it's hard to get an EV that's practical. Like we live 2 hours south of Canberra, capital city, and we go there once a week. And that's like, say, 150 miles each way. So, I mean, you could do it in a Tesla, but you sort of still have to plan your day, and I guess you have to top up charge somewhere along the line when you're running around. And
yeah.
so
the Tesla networks starting to happen over there? Is there superchargers or not really yet?
So yeah, there's superchargers in the next town, 30 miles away, and they are about every 100 miles. But
yeah, that's not a lot. I mean, we have here every 10 miles we have one, and
yeah, so yeah, it's I was actually checking.
I live in a place where there's like a black spot. There's a black hole. There's a whole, you know, Pomona. There's a whole all the way to Pasadena. There's nothing there, but it's only like 20-mile radius that there's no, you know. And it's such a weird thing because we're like, how come there's no superchargers here? Like, what is up with this, you know? But I literally have 2 of them within 7 miles of my house. You know, I have one here at like 3 miles, and then another one at 5 miles or something. You know, so it's pretty crazy.
So do you use them more than charging at home? Is it free or cheap, or what's cheaper, the supercharger or the home charge?
I don't know how much it costs because I have about 15,000 miles of free supercharging because you get that as a referral, right? And so I've gotten a few referrals. People have used that, our code or whatever. And so, but I mean, only when you're traveling, only when you forget. Let's say you forget one morning or one night to plug it in because you're lazy or whatever, and you get up in the morning, you're like, oh, I got to go far today. I got to go here and go there and across town. And so then you're like, okay, then I have to go and supercharge for 20 minutes here or there. So you end up doing that. But 90% of the charging gets done at home, you know.
Yeah, right. You just have to plan. You just have to plan, I guess, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not even that much planning with the Tesla, to tell you the truth, because they're everywhere. And if if you are going far or something came up or something, it's just going to take you an extra 10, 20 minutes. They're literally that fast now. You
Wow.
can plug it, you can pull up, and in 10 minutes, you have enough to get going to the next one, and so that's really not an inconvenience anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'd rather do that than go to the gas station. I hated going to the gas station. I don't know why, because should be an inconvenience the same way, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the smell. I hate the smell of gas. Then you have to like literally stay there while you're filling up, because it's not long enough for you to go back inside the car and sit down and just do something, go on Facebook, but it's not short enough to not annoy you. So you have to literally stay there, and it's like so you get to feel the whole brunt of it, all the time. And so that used to drive me crazy, where the Teslas right now, it's about 10 to 20 minutes that you're going to be there. So it's long enough for you to like, okay, I'm here for the next 10, 20 minutes. Let's go inside the car, put the thing, we're having a conversation or watching a thing on our whatever we're doing, And so
Yeah.
you're back to like me, I'm back to working. I'm like always on my phone, answering questions, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Multitasking.
multitasking. Yeah. And then next thing I know, I was like, oh, the car is charged. Okay, let's go. And then we're on our way. So you don't feel it as much, even though it's longer. It's such a weird
right.
thing. And that's just me, but I'm sure it's different for other people, but that's been my experience.
We have a CCS charger in town, which is like 10 miles away. That's 50 kilowatts. So that takes the Model 3, I think, the CCS port.
Yeah, I think there's an adapter.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like it's big actually. It's like a giant thing with a cable, and you put it in there. It's not very popular, but it does exist, and you could use it. But the cool thing is that we can use those. Supposedly, we can use those with our DIY conversions.
Yeah, so we've done a Chetamo one with the Orion BMS, which is pretty cool. So you can charge, like the low voltage net gain Hyper 9 conversion. They're around the 32, 36 kilowatt. And so we can fast charge that at, I think, 18 kilowatt hour per hour.
Wow, that's pretty fast compared to level 2.
Oh.
So you're saying with the 42S battery packs, the 175 volt packs.
No, the low voltage one, the 5 Tesla modules.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. So you should be able to do better with the 7. Right now we're working on a 7 module.
Oh, right.
Yes, so we should be able to do. The only problem is that I'm using Michael's BMS, not the Orion. And even though it's that dilithium BMS that he's got, and even though it's got CAN bus and everything, it meets all the requirements, right? For by the way, whose controller do you use for the Chademo?
So the Chetimo, we just use the Orion protocol. So the Orion BMS has that protocol built in.
Oh, it's built in. So you don't need any other hardware to connect the plug?
No, you just need the firmware and
I didn't know that.
wire the contactor and the proximity sensor switch on your cable. The biggest problem is trying to find a receptacle for a Chetimo to put in your DIY cars. They are like really rare. It's only the Nissan Leaf and a few cars that have them.
Yes, that's true. So over here, we're looking to work with Go Charge. Is that his name? Tony. He's neighbors with the Bream there with the EV West, and he has this company that makes the Chademo ones for the what were the Toyota? What were those Toyotas ones that had the Tesla packs? and they didn't have quick DC charger. So he's making a third-party unit. And so we asked him, and he says, yeah, all you need is a CAN bus communication to your BMS, the RAV4s, yeah. So he makes hardware for the RAV4s, so you can upgrade them so they can have fast DC charging, right? And so he's got all the stuff. He's got the connectors. He's got he's got like little box that he sells you that's got the contactors and all the wiring and some circuitry there to manage all that. But he needs
you have to keep us in the loop.
What's that?
You have to keep us in the loop. Get Brian to send us the link.
Now we're just trying to get them to both finish the talking between those two products, because they both have, I think, what they need from each other. It's just, it's never been done. So, you know, there's quite a bit of figuring out. You still gotta, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been trying. We have two BMS Aussie manufacturers down here. One's Tritium and one's Ziva. And I've been trying to get them to talk to Tritium, because Tritium is the Australian-based electric car charging, the fast chargers that most companies use. I think they have like 85% of the market. So they have the protocol, but there's an OEM thing from the car manufacturers that must own that protocol rights, and it's hard to you know, because it would make the DIY great, because I think you'd only need a 30 to 36 kilowatt hour pack in your conversion if you've got a CHAdeMO or a CCS charger.
Yeah, all of a sudden you don't need to have hundreds of miles with your packs. And then that becomes more accessible to most people, I think, right? So yeah, good thing. I think it's coming. It's just, you know, we're getting there. And the battery prices are coming down too, so we'll get there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we struggle. I guess we get leftovers down in Australia. We you know, about 3 years ago, you could get a Tesla wreck for 25,000 Australian. Now Tesla wreck is like mid-30s plus.
Oh no way! It's going up.
Yeah, because people buy them and then they go, oh, what do we do now? You know, it's not that easy to hack a Tesla motor, and they don't always work. I have people ring me up and go, hey, we can't get this Tesla to work. We've bought a logic board from an open source and it doesn't work. And I said, have you got the whole vehicle? They said, yeah. I said, go around and show me the pyro fuse. Go around, it's blowing. I said, are the airbags gone? They said, yeah. I said, well, the motor windings are probably blowing, because when the airbags go off and if the vehicle's at speed, the motor's got all that power in the engine, and the airbag blows off, sends a CAN bus to that pyro fuse to blow it to make it safe, because it's a major accident, right? Turns the battery off, but the power's sitting in the motor and the motor stops spinning, and you've got 360 volts and 400 or 500 amps sitting in there with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So that's why we.
Do you see a lot of like broken motors like that way?
About 1 in 5, 1 in 4.
Oh wow! Okay, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of inertia.
So we get most of our motors from Norway.
Norway. Yes.
Yeah.
Norway. Because they act in slow motion.
Well, there's more Teslas in Norway than most other parts of the world. They have hundreds of them.
Yeah. And they crash in slow motion. Right?
Yeah.
It's light on those roads, but it's icy. They just, you know.
Yeah, it's like.
And they just crash against each other like bumper cars.
And you can't get parts. No one can get parts for Teslas. Once they crash, you can't get parts.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think that is everywhere. But I mean, here in the States, I think they gotten a handle of that, right? But it's still more of a headache than just a normal car, right? On a normal car, you can go to any shop and get parts and have it fixed. But with the Tesla, it's, you got to go to the right guy, and those guys charge so much money. And then they were charging so much money that they were totaling cars for like nothing, for scratches and just little dings here. They're like, it's going to be $40,000 to fix that. They're like, the insurance companies would just total the cars, which was weird.
Yeah. Well, that's what they do over here. The last Tesla Model X we had, the lady had 1,800 kilometers on a Model X 100D, and I don't know what happened. She hit the gutter, and the front wheel just folded under and broke the A-arm at the front suspension, broke the car off. It's, $130,000, $140,000 car here. So crazy,
that was it?
right?
That's all it took?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I guess it's good for us because we get parts.
Yeah, so we've got a nice black, brand new Model X body with no drives and no battery pack, but you can still turn it on, right? It's got the center screen. We've been playing with fixing the going door sensors, and because we get a lot of people asking to readjust those. And glass. Glass is like hard to find for Tesla. The Tesla roofs, we get a lot of people chasing glass.
Yeah, the glass. That's crazy. I want to get me one of those. Michael discards a lot of these bodies, right? Because he buys the full cars, takes the motors and the battery boxes and the chargers, all the electronics, and then he sends the bodies to his partner, and then they cut up all the bodies, and they take anything that's salvageable, doors and lights and steering wheels, seats, and then they'll list those, right? And then the rest of it just goes to the crusher. But I'm like, I'm gonna get one of these that is not too bad, too banged up or something, and I'm just gonna put like a V8 on it.
Too funny. Well, my wife's told me that I'm not allowed to bring any more Tesla bodies back to the farm.
Oh, really? There you go. Yeah.
So this way, we're just buying the components and basically, just quickly where our business has sort of been. It's been a bit like you. Like I have a real job, and the EV's been a sideline, and it sort of comes and goes in waves. And I'm trying to ramp up a bit, but I think down in Australia, the market for the bring your classic car in and spend $100,000 making it an EV is very small. But there's a lot of DIYers out there, and I quite happily take phone calls. I take messages on Facebook and Instagram, and I just love talking to guys. Like, I had a guy ring me yesterday from Queensland, so that's up the other end of the country, and he's got this Hummer H3. He's putting a net gain in it, and he rang me the day before, and look, to be honest, my wife goes, "You're really short with him." And I said, "Darling, I didn't sell him the motor." I said, "Go back to who sold you the motor," because he was trying to fire it up and it wasn't working. It was starting to turn and stopping. And I said, "I'm pretty sure it's either the firmware or you got a phase wire out." So he's an older guy from the UK. He rings back yesterday, grinning in his voice, and goes, "I swapped those phase wires and it works, and it's going really good. But the only problem is now all these lights on the Hummer have come up, the traction control and everything is up." I said, "Is the car on the ground?" He goes, "No, it's up on the hoist. The wheels are spinning." I said, "You need to put it on the ground. The car thinks it's sliding around." So trying to integrate the old or the EV into a newer vehicle is quite a task sometimes.
It's quite a task. You got to be a coder. You got to be a hacker, because now you're dealing with computers, and that's not a mechanic's job. That's like a computer programmer's job, essentially. So you got to be both of those. That's why we like our classics.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people now, jump on YouTube, jump onto your channel, and as the favourite saying down here is Google it. I tell my son every day when he has a problem, Google it. So we all just Google, and you find someone that's hacked it or worked out a way to do things.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the Hummers are pretty cool. I'd want to, one day maybe do one of those, because they're super cheap here. Those Hummers, they used to be really expensive, but now you can get them on auctions, like surplus military auctions. We saw one like a year ago. We were just for fun looking in there, and one sold for like $6,000.
Wow.
And all that was wrong with it,
H1.
an H1, yeah, right.
Wow.
So all that was wrong with it, it was a dead battery.
No way.
So they couldn't start it because the battery was dead. It had like 6,000 miles or something. It was some crazy thing. It was like super low miles. It didn't work, but just because it didn't work, they're like, nobody was bidding on it. Because it could be anything, right? But we're like, okay, just as a start, it's like, what is it like? Okay, so the battery won't, like, it's probably the battery. And yeah, sure enough, it's like, but I'm like, we can get these really cheap and just take the engine out and sell it. And, you end up with a free roller that you can just dump.
Yeah.
So
what we're doing is, just on that note, we've got some drives coming in that are going north-south, and we are putting a gear set into the large Tesla drive, a 4.51, and you put that between the two input shafts on your four-wheel drive. So you have one to the rear, one to the front with a limited slip disc, and you get 450 horsepower mounted in the tunnel or in between your front and rear drive shaft.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do with Jaunt on one of their Discovery Land Rovers. But yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Wait,
so
you're saying you're changing the differential on the Tesla drivetrain?
Yeah, I think the drivetrain is, don't quote me, I think 9 point something to 1.
Yeah.
So Quaife in the UK have machined up a gear set 4.5 to 1 to go out onto the drive shafts, either into a rear diff on a conventional, like Camaro or something like that, or to go between to a front and rear diff on a four-wheel drive, like a Land Cruiser or.
But that's not a regular differential that you put in there, right? You change it by like a posse traction, or like it's a different.
Yeah, it's a posse drive. Yeah, it's a screw drive LSD. I'm not an expert in the. We're just agents for Quaife, and they do good. So we do output tasks for the Teslas to go back to your Combi and your 930 Porsches. They just slip right in. You bolt in the.
Those little stubbies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's getting, like you say, it's getting very modular. And what we're trying to push for now with Zero EV UK, they're coming up with complete, bit like Michael, we're doing a complete bolt-in 930, 911. Is it a 964 Porsche? I'm not a Porsche expert.
I don't know which one's a 964. Yeah, I'm just familiar with the 914s and the 911s, 912s. Those are the classic.
Yeah, the classic 912. So this kit will be a bolt-in, no holes drilled, and plug into the original Porsche wiring. I mean, they're expensive kits, but it just shows you how much it's evolving. So you could send this kit out to an installer, and they can just plug it all together and plug it in. It takes about 40 hours of workshop time. And it can be totally reversible. There's no, because in the UK, you can't drill holes, can't modify chassis, same as here in Australia. It's very...
Oh, really? You can?
No, it's very hard. It's very hard engineering-wise.
Wow. Because you'd have to submit the engineering for approval and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so we have an engineer up in Canberra. So the great thing is when they see these electric motors, even like the Teslas, the continuous rating, power rating is not what the peak performance power rating is. Otherwise, they'd all have, they go, hell, you can't put 300 horsepower in a 1,000 kilo Combi. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Here, well, the good thing here in the U.S., they don't care. You're just like, here you can do whatever you want. You can strap a rocket engine to your car, you know?
As long as you're legal.
No, that's the thing. It's like, to tell you the truth, my buses, I register them, they never check them. They're like, they just don't care. They're just like, as long as you're not some weird thing that, yeah, that is, you know, visually obstructive or violating some of the rules about, you know, light heights or, you know, dimensions on the car, whatever's under the hood, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, especially if it doesn't make noise, or they just don't care. They just, it's kind of weird here, which is in California, everything's highly regulated except for cars. We can do whatever we want with cars.
So if you have an accident and you're an EV and they can prove it was the EV at fault,
Yeah,
are you liable?
I don't know. Like, my buses are insured, fully insured, $50,000. Right? And they know, the insurance company knows they're electric because they came and they actually did a whole inspection on the vehicle. You know,
wow.
Yeah, so my insurance would cover if there's an accident. If it gets stolen, it's a full coverage insurance on both of them.
Well, yeah, it's funny down here. It's you know, the first conversion I did was the orange little open wheeler kit car, like a Lotus 7 look. When we put the HPEV 165 horsepower twin motor like Michael did in that little open.
Right. The AC35 too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I took it to the engineer, and he goes, "Is it safe?" And he's looking at me, and I said, "Yeah, it's safe. Here's the tick list." And he goes, "Tick, tick, tick," and he just relied on me. He didn't know. He honestly didn't know. And we've been doing workshops. I did one workshop back just on the start of coronavirus and start of March, just to try and teach people about the electrics, and it's not a scary thing. It's just procedures, you know. It's things you don't do and things you do.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah. So do you register them as electric cars?
Yes. We get a slight discount on the registration per year. Some states are different to other states. But
do you have to?
Yes. You're supposed to re-register them and have a engineer's report saying that it's electric. So yeah,
not because it won't pass smog inspection. Do you guys have like emissions controls over there, like regulations and stuff?
We don't have the test, but we have the ratings. You know, like the CO2 per kilometre rating or per 100 kilometres. And
oh wow! How do you know if you're in compliance if there's no testing?
Well, if you do an old classic and use a V8, you have to go and get it tested. But if it's a new vehicle, you know, that's all already done.
Ah, okay. So, that's weird. Here in America, they're like, you got to test them. Like, you got to test that every 2 years. Including new cars? I don't know if new cars, but I know older cars you do.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter if it's new, if it was nice and clean, or because stuff breaks, right? So like, say you have a 10-year-old car, it could be polluting like crazy. They want to know. So here in California, they make you go every 2 years. So you won't be able to register unless it passes inspection, right? So that's the reason here why we have to register them as electric. Any car that is from like 75 and later, pre-1975 vehicles, like all my buses, we don't have to. They're exempt. So when I put an electric system on mine, I don't have to go and register as electric. I could just keep that information to myself. Because why would you share that with the DMV? Like the Department of Motor Vehicles doesn't have to know. All they have to know is that it goes, right? And it's actually in compliance with a brand new car because it doesn't pollute. So even though I'm allowed to pollute in a pre-75 1975 vehicle, I'm not, right? And so I'm like, the only thing that I can gain from going and registering as an electric car is that I'm gonna get extra taxes because now they're starting to, they want to start taxing electric cars because now you're not being taxed at the pump.
Yeah, no road mileage.
Because basically you need to contribute for that fund, right? That is taxed through the gasoline prices, but
Yes.
Since you're not putting gasoline, but you're paying, electric taxes because you're using way more electricity now all of a sudden, right? When you don't have an electric car, then you would use whatever. You would use 600 kilowatt hours a month or something. When I have two cars and I'm going like, oh my God, it's like 1,500 kilowatts hours a month,
Wow.
right? So
yeah.
I
don't know about that. We've been on standalone solar power for 12 years. I haven't had an electricity power bill in 12 years.
You're off grid.
Yeah.
Wow, you're off grid. So you have a big bank of batteries.
Yeah, so behind the computer, I have a room with old school 2-volt lead acid batteries. I think about 3,400 amp hours of lead battery out there. But you can only use 20%, right? So.
Oh, I see. 3,000.
Yeah, so it's 12 years.
3,000 at what voltage are you running at? 48 volts?
Yeah.
48 volts. Yeah, that's quite a bit of big system.
So yeah, I have two Outback inverters that piggyback back. They're 7 kilowatts each. So one ramps on top of the other when we can charge, or you turn the hoist on or weld or. So that's been going 12 years. This winter it's starting to slow, and I just ordered from another Kiwi mate of mine, Lithium Power down here in Australia, some lithium 400 ampere cells out of buses that have been low mileage buses. So this gives you the idea how batteries are getting cheaper. The first, those batteries in there cost me, I think, 36,000 Australian. This replacement set of 40 E8 400 amp hour lithium batteries, which is 60 kilowatt hours. Mm-hmm. So about 40, 45 kilowatts of use, only $10,000. So it's and the size difference. One pellet compared to, I think it'd be like 6 pellets of lead battery in there.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And on the DIY side, so you're saying you pay $10,000 for 40 kilowatt hours?
No, 60 kilowatts, 40 kilowatts use.
Oh yeah, so we're actually paying less here in the States. You're still paying quite high. We just bought 14 modules, Tesla modules, which is about 70 kilowatt hours, right? We just bought some for 10 grand, right? So almost an entire battery pack. You can get a Model 3 battery, which is 75 kilowatt hours, for just under 10 grand. It's like 500, I think. So
I see that on eBay, but they're just too long. They're like 6 inches too long to put in a combi. they just need to be short.
I'm putting on mine.
Where are you?
Right.
Where?
Right in the center, right from the box is going to be hidden right on the torsion housing on the back.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's going to go all the way to the front, almost touching the arms for in the front beam.
The front beam. Wow. Is that the 4 modules or 2?
I'm going to try to put 4 modules. Yes. And I want to do the 25S modules, right? So if I put
the low ones.
Yeah, I'll be somewhere at like 85 kilowatt hours or something. And on a bus, it should be able to do pretty well. I don't know, like 250, maybe almost 300 miles of range.
Wow.
For about 800 pounds of battery.
That's good. So our biggest problem here is trying to get batteries down. We've got like a think about 3,500 Model 3s delivered on the road. So they're coming up.
Yeah.
And we're also pretty close. I think Chris is pretty close to hacking the Model 3 motor. So,
yeah. So you guys are going to be there. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing here. Like, I noticed that the Tesla batteries were going down. Even the Model 3 batteries, they were down to like $1,600 per module. So you think about it, that's like $3,200 per pair. You're like under $7,000 for an 85 kilowatt hour battery, right?
Yeah.
But now they're going back up now because there's so many of these Model 3s that are on the road, and so many of them are ending up, in accidents. Then now the market of replacing old batteries, with newer ones, defective batteries or whatever, it's starting to happen. That's a thing, People are starting to salvage some of these and, get them back on the road. Even though Tesla's not fully supporting them and stuff, people don't care because you can get a car cheap, you can still be driving around a $20,000 Tesla. People are doing that. And so that is keeping the price a little bit high still. They kind of went down and then they went back up a little bit. They're staying somewhere around the $10,000 for a full pack.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing down here. All the wrecks or the ones that come up at auction that are repairable write-off, they get wiped off the Tesla network. Yeah. And the problem is, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but the small drives require a firmware update every year. So an over-the-air update. So I don't know if Tesla's still back that if it's repaired, but they don't back to charging. I'm not sure what goes on there. Yeah. And the other thing we're starting to look at is a lot of the Model 3 dual drives, when they have an accident, they break the front motor mount for some reason, quite a lot of them. And you can't just take out that motor and put in another motor because that motor control board is paired to that car. Yeah. So we've been swapping the logic board and controller out of the damaged housing and putting it into another housing and getting the car going again.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, they're going to have to do something. They won't be able to just keep all Teslas that are on wrecks just from ever going back. Like, every manufacturer, there's a whole right to repair movement going around, at least here in the States. And they're going to have to address it eventually. You can't just be like, nope, that's it. This car's is done, It's been
it's funny, isn't it? It's I love Teslas, and one day I hope to own more than just the motor of one. But they're really trying to control their technology or control the whole thing.
To tell you the truth, I think the reason is just they don't have the time. They're either ramp up production to meet demand, or they take care of this little things, right? And I think the right answer is you can do both, but I think they're choosing not to. I think they're choosing to just ramp up as quick as possible. That's a higher priority to them, I think, right? Than to try to fix all these wrecked Teslas, They probably see it like, who cares? You already got paid. The insurance company paid for it. Let's just recycle that one.
I guess, as far as recycling goes, there's going to be a heap load of Tesla module batteries around. I thought Outback Power in the States would have made an inverter and solar charger to fit those 23S or 25S modules. No one's really doing that yet, unless you've heard of something.
No, other than a couple of the Chinese companies that are doing custom because that's the problem, right? You're tackling a 6S battery pack, which is really 22 volts instead of 24. And so you can overcharge them if you just plug them in. And as we saw with Rich Rebuilds in his little battery fire incident, it's just 2 volts extra. That's enough to get your battery to blow off, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple of Chinese companies that have been doing, but nothing major from the legit companies like Outback or, you know. Yeah, it sucks. They should be doing that.
Yeah, it's funny how Richie Rich, like about 2 or 3 years ago, he got hold of me on Instagram, and he wanted that little orange kit car get sent over to the States. He wanted to buy it, and I'm seeing this dude. I'm like, who are you? It was sort of not very well known back then.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a nobody back then, and then all of a sudden he's, you know, Mr. Popular. He was the one that we had. We had him 2 weeks ago on the podcast.
Oh,
And
really?
the sound was terrible. We couldn't use it, so we can't post it.
Oh,
It was a really good podcast too, because we talked about all that stuff. Talked about that battery fire. I had some questions for him because he told me that I was under the impression that battery had been overcharging for hours, maybe days on it.
yeah.
But he said no, that it was only a couple of hours. And I'm
Wow.
like, that doesn't make sense. I go, I know there was something else then. I go, there's no way you can overcharge a battery that quickly in a couple hours. And it went that quick, that bad. I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know, it's weird. There's something else there. Because if you just put a 24-volt charger on a Tesla module, it'll charge it all the way up. It'll be fine right until the very top, right? At the very top, then all the cells are going to overcharge. But then it's going to take hours for you to get past that point where they're going to want to catch fire. They don't just instantly just catch fire. Cells don't do that. As you know, as much as people like to think that they're these volatile things, it's really hard to make them catch fire. You gotta really abuse them.
That's right. You know, and that's why it's very hard to find a 4S BMS module for the life chemistry for vehicle application. You know, just as an extra power supply or a second battery, because you know, one's 14.6 for the life chemistry and a lead battery's 14.8. And, you know, I run my work van and I have 16 72 amp hour lives in there in the 4P4S running off the second battery on a relay. That's been in there for a year. That's been getting 14.8. And they say don't charge over, was it 3.65 volts a cell?
3.6, yeah, 3.65. I think that's what we usually would cut them on. The lithium iron phosphate, yeah.
Yeah, the phosphate, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are good. I mean, and they also say that you can run different chemistries together. I did that for 4 years. I literally had, 35 lithium iron phosphate cells connected in parallel with, 30 lithium cobalt oxide cells, right? The Tesla battery packs. I had both packs in the same car.
Didn't we sponsor one of those little packs back?
That's right. Yes, you did in the early days. Yeah. I was doing extra, and you guys you sent me some money to buy a couple of those. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. That seems like years ago.
That it was years ago. That's a long time ago. We just talked to Michael. We had Michael here a couple of weeks ago too, and it was years ago. I mean, 3-4 years ago that we were out there working with him. I
like the podcast. It's it's good watching your journey. I think in this day and age, you can't just focus on one specific thing, right? You've got to have your fingers in a few different things to survive.
Yeah, you got to be diverse, pretty much. And then the other things you just get tired of doing the same thing over and over. I mean, who can just do the same thing year after year? You know, it's got to be like a special person that can do that. Most of us get tired of doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely. I take my hat off to you putting a video up on YouTube every week. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, how do you keep going, keep the inspiration?
It's been hard. So my problem is that I love making stuff so much that it competes. I would love it if I was, the only thing I like doing was video. It would be so much easier, but I don't. I also like working on cars. I also like building stuff out of wood. I like, cleaning this place and building, designing stuff. Uh, I like talking about stuff, just that it's just regular stuff, not related to tech or, uh, and all that competes with my videos, So it's like, Jesus, okay. And right at the time where they're starting to pay off and I'm starting to build an audience, that's when I'm getting tired of doing them. So this just sucks because then I'll figure out how to make money another way. And just when it starts getting there, then I'll be done with it. And I'll be like, I want to do something else. That's just what happens, I think.
Yeah, it's I'm the same. It's, you do a build and you go, that's cool, and then you get lots of inquiries and you get lots of people asking, and they get cold feet and then they come and go. And then a few of my buddies, they said, do a workshop. We want to see how you hack a Tesla motor. How do you do it? So we did a workshop. And I just had 6 guys in for 2 days. And, like Ron, your mate Ron, the teacher, mm-hmm. I messaged him on Instagram. I said, Ron, I can see why you enjoy teaching. It was like the biggest buzz to I gave him the small drive, gave him the hack board. I had a video. I said, watch this video. Let's go and do it. And you guys are going to do it. What? You're not going to do it? I said, no, you've seen the video. I'll just stay in the background and watch 4 guys brainstorm to get this board in and out. And, it was pretty cool. It was a buzz.
Yeah, I'm walking through a YouTuber that is doing that conversion, that bay window that I have here. That is similar to yours there. So he's doing all the work. I'm just telling him what to do. It's like, okay, here we cut these boxes this way, measure here, cut here, do this, but he's going to do the entire conversion. I'm just walking him through it. And I'm gearing up to do some with Ron. I want to do like little seminar where I bring, 10, 20 people or something and bring them on and be like, you're converting a car, we're not just, this is not a classroom. This is like a thing where you get your hands dirty, and by the end of the seminar, we're taking turns riding on this vehicle that we converted.
That's cool. Yeah, we're doing a web seminar in a couple of weeks with another company down in Victoria. It's funny, you see a lot of companies here start up, go big, go hard, and go bust within the year. And I guess that's why I haven't really. EV Talk's been around in the background, and you just don't want to go too big. I'd love to have Michael's business model there, where he's got 5 years of wait list, and have interns and people coming in, but we just don't have that market, right? So it's to do other things like what you're doing with watching a build. People are interested in that. It's quite cool to watch. I loved watching when you had to put your when you swapped your motor and batteries over into the other bus.
Onto the other bus, yeah.
I bet you remember every minute of that whole swap.
Yeah, well, to tell you the truth, I was so surprised. I had forgotten how much work it was to do a conversion. And I thought I was just going to be able to just, a couple days, I'll put everything back on the other one. It's already done. But that's not how it works. You're always trying to fix something, make it better, and you got to fight that urge. So it was a long process. I felt like it was a long 10 days. Michael says, "Oh, that's quick." Well, yeah, it's just quick.
Just joining wires is, and now we're in the 360 volt game.
Range.
Just join a BMS. You've got 96 cells of wiring to connect together, and you just go, oh, I don't really want to do it. Can't we just plug it in somewhere? So that's where we're really trying to go, is make everything plug. So,
yeah, plug and play. Yes, but it's hard. Yeah, we're all trying to do the same thing. I think Michael's trying to do that. I'm really trying not to go that route. I'm trying to just do my way of doing the conversion, something that is cheap and safe and you know, reliable. And my system's 7 years old, so it's pretty reliable, and I know it inside out. Now I'm getting ready to help him do the Hyper 9. I haven't done that system yet, so but from what I'm looking, it's pretty simple. It's basically almost the same as the HPVS. It's just different.
Yeah,
different components.
Hans is a great guy. We've done a couple of his systems, and we've done a few HPVS ones, and we've had the same problem with you. I've had that twin AC35. We destroyed the one controller with the bearing encoder zapping with the MF from the current. Yeah. So we had to go back to your older style with the little disc and the sensor. And the same thing, that little disc is a bitch, eh? Yeah. It gets bits of plastic or dirt in it, and it starts faulting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing of mine, that it's, you know, but I think they fixed it with the new ones. They're more reliable. Did you see that the problem, we burned one controller with that problem?
We did.
Bad encoder caused like a short or something on a controller, and it went up in flames.
I got one on the desk. Do you want me to quickly go and grab it? It's just out of the camera view. Oh, yeah. I'll put it up. Give me a sec.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we don't know 100% that was a problem, but I suspect that it was a problem with the encoder, and then that thing just went up in flames. It was very close to burning us. Oh, so he's bringing his charred up controller.
Yeah, I cried when this happened. I was with my son. We had it in a Hilux ute, and yeah, this thing was a weapon. You could go first, second, third, fourth, wheel spinning. We were doing that down a dirt road, and it just went poof.
Oh, so it's already running. It was already driving.
Yeah, and we gave it a gut full of power, and it blew the feets. See the little feets there?
Ah, yeah. Okay. They literally blew up.
So, and I'm just doing another supplying a small drive hack kit to a guy in Canberra that's got the is it the Porsche Spider? I'm not sure what you guys call it. The flat one with the mid-mounted rear end.
Oh yeah. The Spider, huh?
Yeah, he had one in that and did the same thing, blew his controller, and he rang me up and I said, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Well, at least this one kind of survived, so you can see the carnage. Ours was literally just a charred ball of unrecognizable.
Oh, wow.
It was flames coming out like 3 feet, you know, like a meter up and meter down. It was blowing flames. You know, it was crazy. You know, that is the remains of a 1239 Curtis controller. And when we finished, it was, you couldn't diagnose what was wrong with it because it was just a melted ball of something, you know, just like metal and plastic, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, this guy tried to solder FET back on and get it going, but kept popping a fuse, and so I think there's the neck gain Hyper 9s, there's a few conversions running around. They seem to be pretty good, but we've got the old HP V50 in our Beetle, And I'll have that on the next month's podcast with John. I'll put that in the shop here because that's a great little car. You know, it's a coffee car. You get in it after a month. It's been sitting there in the shed undercover, and it works. It goes all right. It's not crazy. It's got old lithium phosphate batteries in it, but hey, it works. And it was a pretty cool conversion to do. And that was with one of Michael's kits.
Those are Michael's kits. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those just go. That's crazy. Mine is like mine, right? 7 years. It's on a second car now. It just goes. It just goes. And I'm getting ready to do my fleet of vehicles like that because I know that they're reliable and they're not too powerful and they're low maintenance and they're not too expensive. And I think those buses will just go around making me money for a while. So I'm hoping anyways, that's going to be the thing.
Yes. So there's a guy here in Australia at a place called Byron Bay. So Byron Bay is famous because Chris Hemsworth, you know, Thor, actor. Yeah, he lives there. So there's a company up there that's doing already have a fleet of buses that they rent out that you can take away for the weekend and camp in. Really? So he's got, one electric one. Very cool.
Are they all electric or only one?
One, he's doing another one. And, you know, it's not cheap, like just component costs to do a Hyper 9 and batteries and everything is around 30,000 Australian before you put any labour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Is that comparable to you, or are you a lot cheaper over there?
Well, see, with the Model 3 batteries, you know, so you're 10 grand in batteries, then you're 4,000 in, you know, the motor controller kit, and then you're like another few $1,000s of other components. And if I do the work, so I'm under 20, right?
Yeah.
For a big pack. If I just want to do half a pack and just get like 150 miles or something like what I have right now, then you can cut that in half because you only use half of the pack. So that's for about what I'm looking at here, like $20,000 worth to electrify it, and then about $30,000 to have the vehicle, to buy the vehicle. I just bought one for 25, but then I replaced a bunch of the seats because I don't need the original seats. I just need the bay windows fit in the older ones, and you can modify them to look just like the old one, and you can pick those up for like $300. Where the original one, it's worth like $3,000. So I've been selling the original ones, and then with that money, so I essentially end up buying a brand new, like, a working bus that for about $20,000. And it's got an engine, it's got a rack, it's got all kinds of stuff that I can still sell. And I'm gonna be somewhere around like 18,000 or something for a bus. Yeah. That then eventually, like, I'm gonna make it a samba, so I'm gonna have to buy the roof and do all that work, paint and upholstery and some I gotta upgrade some of the suspension stuff. But at the end, I'm gonna be about $30,000 on that bus. And so then plus the 20, I'm like, it's about $50,000 bus that is going to be nice and shiny and pretty, and it's going to be fully electric.
So, yeah, you can get buses here for bays for 25 to 30. With a few bits of rust. This one here was around that. A guy spent 35,000 on the engine and tried to sell the buses, you know, like 85 or 90,000. And someone offered him good money for the motor, and then we bought the body, so it's completely been stripped, sandblasted, all the rust taken out. It's a good looking bus. It's up on our website. So
oh wow,
yeah.
Wow, and they sell the bay windows, because that's a bay window, right? Or is there a split?
Yeah, no, it's a bay.
Yeah, but here the bays are cheap.
The splitties are around, and they're not much more expensive.
Really?
If you get a fully redone new one, and they can get expensive, 45 to 65,000.
Oh wow! Here, the splits are expensive. The bay windows are super cheap here. You can pick them up for 10 grand all day. Like nice ones. I have a neighbor that he buys all those. He buys them for, around anything from 7 to 15,000. And all he does is cleans them up and throws another coat of paint on them and, buys new rims, cleans them, does the thing. And then he sells them he flips them for 20,000, 25,000.
Wow.
Already all worked out. It's just ready for you to drive them around. And I thought about buying one from him, but I'm like, I'll just get it and do that myself. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we got the Bay because it had the IRS rear suspension and
Disc brakes.
And this one's got the Porsche disc brakes front and rear and the narrow beam and all the hard work's been done.
Wow, that's so crazy. Yeah, and that hardware is expensive. I'm spending about $15,000 right now on just suspension on my bus, and it's basically an IRS conversion in the back with Porsche 944 brakes all around, narrow beam in the front, and then it's gonna have airbags because I want to see, how to that. Which is crazy. The airbags cost so much, and it's really nothing. I mean, it's really some brackets with some airbags and some airlines and a compressor, and it's like they want $5,000 for that. You're like, what? That's weird.
So, have you bought that yet, or are you going to buy that?
Yeah, I already bought it, and so the guys, it's making it for me. Because it's a lot of work. You gotta make the front beam from scratch and such stuff, right?
Yeah. Can I give an Aussie company a plug?
Yeah, sure.
There's a company down here. I'll put it up on the screen. It's Fresh Customs. So they do a
Fresh Customs. Okay.
Yeah, they're on Instagram. They do a kit where it's not airbag. They do the narrow front beam, but the rear, the spring plates, they cut and they have an adjustable bracket that goes in. It's only like $250 Australian for the bracket.
Really? Wow.
And it's totally adjustable, so you can adjust it within like 15 minutes. It's quite
So I have that on my bus right now. I have the adjustable plates. And I'm using the arms from the Beetle, right, to do the IRS or whatever. Oh, look at that. VW stuff, huh? Yeah, he pulled it up. So you use the Beetle arms for the IRS, but you could also use the bay window. But I think you got to modify more because you end up with those hubs that are different bolt pattern and
Yeah, the combi are a bit bigger.
Yeah, and we usually use the 911 Porsche pattern, that 5 130s or whatever, so you can put those wheels that are Porsche.
Like these ones. The fitches, they call them.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, lower. Yeah, but the ones you have are for the 512 pattern, right?
Yeah. So
these 512, they made them for the bay window. Wow, look at that. Bay is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit Mad Max inside. It's it's very Mad Max inside.
Really? Oh, look at that! It's all custom. They put like bucket seats made out of press.
It's the original seats, and it's just got the these aluminium. How do you say it? We say aluminium.
Yeah, aluminum. We say aluminum here, but it's the same. Wow. And the dash is custom.
Oh, have a look.
The dash is all custom. It's they removed that padding, which is really nasty. Really, it doesn't.
It looks good. I like the painted look.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a Chevy Volt Pack, and we're going to put a rock and roll. You know the rock and roll seats.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll fold up to a bed.
The bed. Yeah. Yeah.
So the wife and I can we can go down to the lake and have a little afternoon siesta.
Yeah. There you go.
So I'll just show you one more thing, and this is pretty cool. This is Australia's first electric Skidoo.
There you go. Look at that. Zero emissions.
You want to have a look inside?
Oh yeah.
So that is
Oh yeah.
little HP EV motors.
Is that like an AC30 or is it an AC50?
AC21.
AC21. That's one of the early ones.
Yeah. So we took out the ICE motor, and I think that was like 42 horsepower, and we put in 49 horsepower. So funny story. We so I bought this thing for Thredbo Ski Resort, which I think's owned by Vail. Is Vail Ski Resorts over your way?
No, I'm not familiar with those. But
yeah, so we did it as a proof of concept, and so I did the conversion. I took it out my shed onto the grass and gave it some gas.
Yeah.
And next thing I woke up, knocked out
Ah.
with a Skidoo on top of me. It flipped over. It knocked me out. I think I was out for like 10 seconds or whatever. It was scary. It just went woof.
Wow.
It's super accelerated because we had no clutch. It was direct drive. So it just went woof.
It just went. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they have a lot of power. 40 horsepower is a lot of power. It's enough to get going a 3,000-pound car.
Yeah, so that was 50, and I think I don't know if Brian can do the calculation. It was 320 kilos. What's that in pounds?
350 kilos?
It's 350?
Yeah.
770.
770.
771.
Yeah, 770 pounds.
Yeah, with 50 horsepower and I think 80 foot-pound of torque those little motors put out.
Yeah, 84 pounds. Yeah, that's enough. I mean, that's enough to have fun or be really scary, depending on, where you're at.
Yeah, but the cool thing about it was, I don't know if you've ever been on a Skidoo when you're around the mountain, because they have that centrifugal clutch going down a hill. If you don't keep the gas up, they disengage and start running away. Because there's no engine braking. So with this, we had regen. So the resort manager, he jumped on it. A guy by the name of Stuart Diver. He was the guy back, about 10 years ago, got caught in a landslide up at the ski resort. He was stuck under rubble for 7 days, came out of it alive. A bunch of guys didn't. Yeah. So, yeah, he came back with the biggest EV grin. He says, I've never been in a Skidoo where I can just stop on the side of the mountain and then just idle back away and it's not spinning or noisy or smoky or...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't decide to buy that.
Because the battery technology back then, that was done a few years ago, trying to keep the batteries warm. It sort of worked, and then we worked out you always need more horsepower, right? So, we could put a Hyper 920 horsepower in there. That would be a... But the thing is, the Skidoos evolved so much. I think there might be an American company making electric Skidoos now.
Oh, I see.
So it's not really a DIY market. So always a bit like you, always trying to think of things that can work or could be an angle that could do all right.
Yeah, my thing is, it's got to be affordable and people could do it or whatever. That's why I never wanted to really get into the conversions. but the DIY battery, like power walls and, you know, power packs and stuff and solar generators, those are huge, you know, and that's a little bit more affordable. People could spend $1,000 and build something, you know, that's very, very useful. And so I've had a lot of success doing that size of projects.
Yeah, I'm with you. So with my main job, we do non-destructive testing. So we fired up a new work van. I mean, we do big mileage. We do 10,000 kilometers a month. I love to do it in electric, but it's just not there yet. So we put 465 watt solar panels on the roof with an Energizer 1100 continuous watt inverter and those 16 light lithium phosphate cells.
Oh yeah.
And we live, you know, I used to buy McDonald's and takeaways on the road and hated it. Yeah. So now we're on a, you know, I don't know what you guys call it. We call it light and easy. It's a meal plan with, and especially with COVID, the meals all come to you. It's all calorie controlled. It's all fresh, and it's all prepackaged. So we take that away, my son and I, and we have our fridge, and we're pulled up at the truck stop outside, and I've got the toaster going and the microwave. And this truck driver goes past. He goes, "Is that a 12-volt toaster you have plugged in there?" And I said, "Yeah." I didn't know they made 12-volt toasters. I said, no, it's plugged into an inverter. And he goes, that's really cool. And I was thinking, you know, that all the thousands of truck drivers on the road that have to eat rubbish every day, they could have, you know, if you could make a small contained battery inverter plugged into their cigarette light or a solar panel or whatever, and they could eat some better food and not rely on all that takeaway fast food stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I just did a video yesterday reviewing a unit, which is essentially that. It's a 1.5 kilowatt hours worth of battery, 1.7. That's what they rated at. And that's a 2,000 watt inverter. And it's got DC to DC to plug 12 volt stuff up to 25 amps. And it's supposed to have a surge of like 4,000 watts at the AC side, but I was only able to get 2,000. Anyways, I did this review yesterday morning at 7 a.m. Well, in 5 hours, that crowdfunding campaign had reached $1 million. So right now it's like almost like $1.5 million with over 1,300 people that ordered that unit. So it's a huge market. It's a huge market, and people are just wanting that thing, you know, to bring their power with them, you know, to the RVers, the truck drivers, the van lifers, all those people need power, and they need that battery pack.
Is that going to be an AC 220, 240 volt system too, or are they just doing 110?
Yeah, they're from China, this company. So yeah, they're definitely going to have a 50 hertz 220 version of it. Yeah. It's expensive. You know, it's I think it's going to retail for $1,800. But US. Right now, for the crowdfunding, they had it for starting at 1,000. The first 250 people got it for $9.99. Then the next 600 people were going to get it for $13 or $11.99. So about $200. Right, it's a bit expensive, but it's, you know, you don't have to build it or whatever. And so my thing, what I do is like, in the future, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach people how to build that for $600, you know, and build the same thing. It's just DIY. It won't have all the bells and whistles. It won't have all the pretty lights, but it's gonna have all the functionality, you know. And you can do it. I mean, it's not that hard to do it. So. And
so we're just about out of time, or what happens?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go here, but yeah.
Can I get a photo? Can I get a quick photo?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I'll put this up on my Instagram. So
there you go. Well, it was very nice talking to you. And yeah, do you want to plug in some of your Instagram or some of your social platforms there?
Yeah, so I'll, do you just want me to show you on the phone, or?
Yeah, sure. We can do it like that.
So there's my Instagram.
There's your Instagram, Conrad Gibb, EV Torque.
EV Talk. Yeah.
Torque in Australia. So if you're watching this and you're in Australia, you can call up Conrad here, and he could. You can sell them some parts, right? Definitely.
Yeah, and advice, and we could do some conversions, and but definitely advice. So the website is ev-talk.com.au.
.au. So there you go. So yeah, if you're thinking about a conversion, now is the time to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And we will see you. I think the next Zoom is in August with Joint Motors with Dave.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have you in the schedule for coming back. Yeah, definitely can't wait for that. We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
So instead of going left and right with the yellow box, we'll be going left, right, and up and down.
Yes. We haven't done a 3 people podcast yet, but this is going to be the first one. We'll see how it goes. I'm definitely learning here. I'm not a pro at this yet, and you know, I'm up for the challenge.
Pretty soon it'll be like the Brady Bunch.
He says the sooner will be the Brady Bunch. We'll have 8 squares, you know.
And share the link and put it up on Spotify, because we've been listening to your podcast on Spotify.
Yeah. There you go. See, Brian has been putting them on Spotify. Eventually, maybe one day they'll give us money for that. No.
I still don't have money from YouTube yet.
Oh yeah, the YouTube money. Yeah, the YouTube money is it's elusive.
Just quickly, we're going to do a project with Mighty Car Mods.
Oh, okay.
Do a build with them, so that should be huge.
Yeah, they have a huge YouTube channel, right?
3.5 million followers.
3.5 million followers. There you go. They're legit. They're not like wannabes like the rest of us here. Well, I hope everything works out for you, and yeah, we'll see you pretty soon. I think within a month or something. Within a month's time, we'll do it again, and we'll get to see another one of your conversions there. All right.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jehu.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.